The theory of liquidity preference and the downward sloping aggregate demand curve. All right, on this one, we've got liquidity preference right here. We have the market for money. And down here, we have the aggregate demand curve. Okay. So it says, suppose the money market for some hypothetical economy is given by the following graph, which plots the money demand and money supply curves. Here's money supply, fixed where the Federal Reserve decides it wants it, independent of the interest rate, so it's vertical, and the money demand curve, downward sloping. Suppose the price level increases from 90 to 105. Okay, so we've got some inflation. Prices are going up. Now, to see that, we're really here. Here's the price level at 90, and it says it's gone up. Okay, here's the thing. When the price level goes up, we're going to need to make purchases, we're going to need more money. Okay, so if we're holding our wealth, let's say in money and in bonds, that's it, bonds and money. And let's say you sold $1,000 worth of bonds to buy a bicycle. So now you've got $1,000 in money, okay? You go to the bike shop and the bike's now $1,100, okay? The price level's gone up, it's more expensive. You're going to have to sell more bonds. You're going to have to hold more money to make that purchase. And so what happens is the demand for money shifts to the right in response to a higher price level. We simply need to hold more money to make purchases because things are more expensive. Okay, so it says following the price level. Well, I'm going to leave some of these for you. I realize in the aggregate supply and demand, not that one. In the aggregate supply, the last one, the last chapter, I did pretty much everything. So anyway, let's see. Following the price level increase, the quantity, money, demand, and interest rate of 6%. Okay, there's the 6%. That was the old equilibrium. See, there it is, 6%. Demand now shifts out. And we see at 6% now, remember the interest rate is the price of money. So at a price of 6%, quantity demanded is out here. The demand is out there. So we've got excess demand. We have a shortage. So when there's a shortage, the market responds to shortages by the price rising. So the price or the interest rate will rise to 8%. Okay. All right. Let's leave that one alone. I think I've given you enough there. Now it says the following graph plots aggregate demand curve for this economy. Show the impact of the increase in the price level by moving the point along the curve or shifting the curve. Okay. Well, do we shift the curve when the price level changes? Is that what we do? No. Price levels on the graph. Remember when we have, well, going back here, why did we shift this curve? Because there's the interest rate, here's the amount of money, and the price level change. The price level isn't on this graph. So all we can do is shift the curves. Here, we have a variable that's here on the graph, change. So it says the price level went up from 90 to 105. That would be a movement along the curve. And we see that it's 105 right there. Changes in the money supply. Okay, now we're going to have the Federal Reserve Bank do something. And we've got the same money supply curve. money demand curve here. And well, let's take a look at the question. Following graph represents the money market for some hypothetical economy. This economy is similar to the United States in the sense that it has a central bank called the Fed. But a major difference is that this economy is closed and therefore does not have any interaction with other world economies. Okay, they do that just to make it a little bit simple, more simple. The money market is currently in equilibrium at an interest rate of 2.5%. Okay, we see that right here, 2.5%. And the quantity of money is equal to 0.4 trillion right here, designated on the graph by the gray star symbol right there. Suppose the Fed announces that it is lowering its target interest rate by 75 basis points or 0.75 percentage points. So they want the interest rate to come down from 2.5% down to 1.75%. Okay, it's 0.75 percentage points. Okay, so from here to here. How are they going to do that? Well, they're going to have to shift the money supply outward. Now, as the question tells us, it says use the green line. I'm not going to answer these. I'm going to let you answer those. Use the green line on the previous graph to illustrate the effects of this policy by placing the new money supply in the correct location. And then place the black point, this thing, at the new equilibrium interest rate and quantity of money. Okay, well, let's move this down. Let's see, we get it. Whoops. The trick is to get it. Okay. Okay. Well. Okay, let's see. Right there, if they shift the money supply curve out here, and how would they do it? They're going to be buying bonds, open market operations, buying bonds. They're going to buy the bonds. The bonds are coming into the Fed, and they're paying for those bonds with money. So those holding bonds are now selling them and getting money for it. So the money supply increases. Is this going to be a big enough increase in the money supply to achieve the goal of interest rate coming down to 1.75%? Nope, that only brings it down to 2%. So let's see, let's take it out one more. Looks like we got it right there. And this is the new equilibrium. We want to point that out. All right, suppose, let's see, the green line, okay. Suppose that, okay, the following graph shows the aggregate demand curve. Okay, let's see, let's get this thing up and running. See if I can do this without making a total mess. Okay, so the components of aggregate demand are C plus I plus G plus net exports. That sums to aggregate demand. And so the whole point of this is the whole point of this is of lowering this interest rate. The focus is on investment. Remember, investment is the number one, is the biggest reason why the aggregate demand curve slopes down. Sure, there's the wealth effect. Sure, there's the exchange rate effect. But since people hold little of their wealth in the form of money, that's not a big thing. Since the international trade represents just a small portion of our economy, that's not a huge thing. So it's the interest rate effect. So with lower interest rates, the idea is to stimulate capital investment. And since capital investment's a component of aggregate demand, that will shift the aggregate demand curve out to the right. Okay. Boom. Okay, shift the curve to show the general impact of the Fed's new interest rate target on aggregate demand. There we go. That's it.